we could build our way up to a point where, nah, you know what, never mind, we're cooked, bro. We're actually cooked. Like I thought like there was hope or something, but nah, man. Even the raise is gonna be like a raise of 2%, which is pretty useless in this economy. So like, we're cooked. We're cooked, bro. Gen Z, the weakest generation, video by the Diary of CEO Clips. I'm Gen Z. Are we the weakest? Not in the gym though, but let's see what's up.
The grass is always greener. You have people who are going from relationship to relationship to relationship, worse from job to job to job to job. And when I was younger, if you didn't like your job or if you didn't like your boss, the bad news was you had to stay there for a year, because if you left in anything less than a year, you would hurt your CV. They'd be like, "Why did you leave in under a year?" And now, again, particularly young people, there's no stigma to quitting, and it happens sometimes too quickly. Like, if you're confrontation avoidant, and I've seen it happen, confrontation avoidant, I'm too afraid to ask my boss for a raise, so I just quit. I've seen it happen, right? Or I've been here for 4 months, I don't like the culture, I quit, right? Or I got in trouble at work, I hate my boss, I quit. Like, and so people are quitting so much. My fear, like, I don't mind if something's super toxic, get the heck out of there. Most places are not super toxic. Imperfect, yes, but toxicity is like there's a standard, and it's a high bar. And um, uh, or this doesn't fit my values, or this doesn't agree with my politics, I quit. My fear is that if we flash forward 5 years, there's going to be a disproportionately high number of people who have 8 jobs in 5 years. And what's going to happen is an employer is going to look at them and be like, I can't take the risk that you're going to stick around. I'm not hiring you. You sound like an amazing candidate, but you're too high risk for me. And because you've had so many jobs over such a short period of time, you actually haven't stuck around long enough to build up a skill set or know what it's like to manage a storm, because you've stuck around in the good times and bailed in the bad times. And so you have now been in the workforce for 5 years, but you don't have 5 years of work experience. You have 4 months of work experience.
Hmm.
And so I don't want you either, because you've never been through a battle, and I see it happening. A young person who's been at a company for 8 months goes to their boss and says, I want a raise, I want a significant raise, because I'm doing the same job as those people. Those people have been in the workforce for 10 years. I know, but I'm doing the same work as them and I'm doing good work. That's true. You are doing the same work as them and you are doing good work. The difference is I'm not paying them just because they've obliquely been in the workforce for 10 years. I'm paying them because you know how to hoist a mainsail in calm waters. And you can hoist a mainsail in calm waters as well as they can hoist a mainsail in calm waters. The difference is they also know how to hoist a mainsail in a storm. I don't know if you can hoist a mainsail in a storm. I
Hmm.
pay them more because I know that if we run into hard times, I know that they know what to do and I can trust that we can navigate. And I also know that they will teach you how to hoist a mainsail in a storm. It's like the same reason I buy insurance. I don't expect my house to burn down, but I pay just in case. I'm paying them more for a skill set that I hope they never have to use. That's why they get more.
One of my fears at the moment, which is perfectly
Hmm. So apparently, the moral of the story in this is stick around long enough to be trustworthy. Basically, what he's saying is that like they're being paid more because they know that they can do more than you, even though they're doing the same job, they're still more reliable. So if you're asking for a raise to be paid as someone who's been in the workforce for 10 years and you've been here for less than a year, that's kind of like unfair to the person who came before you because it took them 10 years to get where they're at. And you're not really as reliable as they are, and you're not really as trustworthy, nor do you have the experience or the skill set of the person who has been here for 10 years. So basically, it's like work your way up. Don't just be like, if I'm doing this and you're doing this, even though this person's been here for 10 years and you've been here for just a year, you're not really worth the same, I'm assuming is what they're saying here.
Linked to what you're saying is I have a fear, and I've never expressed this openly, so this is the first time, so don't all come for me at once. I have a fear that Gen Z are the least resilient generation that I've ever seen. And a lot of it, and sounds so stupid and not evidence based, but if you look at what TikTok is telling this generation work is, and there was a video that went viral on Twitter the other day out in Silicon Valley where it shows like a Facebook employee, one of the big tech companies. She arrives at work in the morning, she takes a photo of a latte. Oh, there's free muffins. She goes over and has the free muffin. It shows her in her TikTok literally doing like 30 seconds of work. Then she's out doing some like pottery making class that work have put on. She comes back to the desk, does another 30 seconds of work. Then she's off to her work social.
Yeah, that kind of is a little bit of the problem because, like, we're overexposed to people who live a higher level of life than us. And so we assume that that's what a regular living life is. While actually, this person is just like filming a vlog, and you don't really know necessarily how long it took for them to finish that task they were doing there. So, like, this person could have just filmed 30 seconds of work when they could have been logged in for like 3 hours at a time. And this person that's on TikTok is filming themselves doing a business of their own, not necessarily them being an employee to somebody else. So, therefore, we feel obligated to live the same life because we think that's what life is. But it's not necessarily that Gen Z is like less resilient or something. It's like inflation is too high, bro. So, like, 5 years ago versus now, earning the same amount of money 5 years ago and earning the same amount of money now is kind of like probably you can't even afford as much things as you would have 5 years ago. So, like, we kind of are less resilient because, like, if we stick to it, we could build our way up to a point where, nah, you know what? Never mind. We're cooked, bro. We're actually cooked. Like, I thought like there was hope or something, but nah, man. Even the raise is gonna be like a raise of 2%, which is pretty useless in this economy. So, like, we're cooked. We're cooked, bro.
And I I reflect on the storms that my father went through at work, and I just know so deeply inside of me that there's no way some of these younger Gen Z people could weather.
Yeah, this person is old. Why? Like, okay, maybe I'm just too far on a different side of the internet. Do like people in general, I'm not gonna say normal, but like, do people in general refer to Gen Z as Gen Z, or is that just old people?
Such a storm without quitting, doing a long LinkedIn post to criticize their employer then quitting, and I just fear that Gen Z, when I'm hiring people that are in that generation, I almost need to go to an extra length just to check that they can cope with a high intensity culture where demands might come on a Saturday.
I kind of feel like, in a sense, people of previous generations, like a long time ago, probably would have been doing the same thing, but they didn't have the internet, the voice that could reach the public in such a significant way to the point where, like, their complaints could have been heard by a large majority or something. So we as Gen Z, we have the internet, you feel me? So, like, our complaints reach a large number of people. There was probably people back in those generations who were complaining, but like, their complaints only reached like just their friends or maybe their family because they didn't really have the internet like that to be like complaining for the whole world to see about this company. So, yeah.
Because the world doesn't stop on Saturdays and Sundays. So I wanted to get your take on that.
So let's examine both sides, right? Let's think of it. What's the balance and what are the costs, right? It is a generation that already was starting to ask these questions, but COVID forced the rest of us to ask these questions too, which is what is the definition of work, right? Like, what
mm,
does a full-time job mean? And these are unanswered questions. So I don't have an answer as to what the future of work is because it's right now everything's in flux and we don't things are have not landed yet, right? So what is the definition of a full-time job? If I don't come to work, the definition used to be I come in at 8 or 9 and I leave at 5 or 6. That was the full-time job. Now, how much work I did between those hours, you know, it was FaceTime. And we know that because we've all had jobs where we stuck around until 7, so we got FaceTime, so our boss liked us, right? We've all done it, right? But FaceTime is not a thing anymore. And so I have a full-time job and I'm offered another full-time job and I took it. And we see this like employees who are like have productivity issues and then they say that they're burnt out and like I know how much work you have. You shouldn't be burnt out. How do they have a second job? And
mm.
why shouldn't they have a second job? Well, we pay them benefits. So what? Like as long as they're getting their work done.
That they probably have a second job because of inflation, but like things are expensive. You feel me? So like sometimes just one job can't afford a person a certain lifestyle that they think they deserve or they actually do deserve in a way because sometimes some people just aren't getting paid enough to like afford stuff. You feel me? Like they barely get paid enough, so they gotta pay rent, electricity, water, all sorts of things. And sometimes they just need a second job so they can afford that stuff. So yeah,
Do we
man.
care when? People all have side hustles. Even people who've got full
Hmm.
time come to work. Everybody's got some sort of little side hustle. So the definition of what full time employment is up for debate.
Mm.
And I think young people feel, in particular, that why shouldn't I? It's my time. I can do what I want with it. Or I only work 40 hours because those are my limits. Respect my boundaries, right? Um, and the problem is I think all of it is so literal, which is yes, boundaries are important, but the edges of the boundaries are fuzzy.
I think this boundary thing could be solved with a contract that gives everything laid out right, like being like, I understand you have 40 hours, but in the case of an emergency, we could require your assistance. But I also feel like if they say 40 hours and they say in case of an emergency, I kind of feel like they should also like compensate that person because that's outside of their work schedule. Keep everything in a contract. Everyone should understand and agree to the terms of the contract and sign it that way so that there are no confusions as time goes on. But if nothing is on a contract, then yeah, the boundary thing that could be an issue.
Right? And it's not like I don't work on Saturdays. Well, I agree with you. I don't want you working on weekends.
Mm.
This one weekend, I really need your help to finish this project so we can get it out the door. Or just I don't take meetings after 5 o'clock. I agree with you. I think we should have that life balance.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they should like speak about am I to be compensated of my time and labor on this weekend? Maybe that should be conversated like face to face if it was not on a contract, but I feel like it should be on a contract so that at least you know to expect it in as time goes on.
But today, I just need you to work till 6 to get this one project done. And
Mm,
to recognize that, so one of the things they're getting right is that we're married to work and we take our phones on holiday. We take our computers on holiday with us, and that work has ultimate say on our time. I agree. That should go the way of the dodo. But the extreme is not to put these hard lines everywhere and say, I don't do this. As an aside, the irony is, they demand that we respect their boundaries, and yet they seem to step on every other boundary about bringing, emotional professionalism at work
Mm.
and dumping all of my problems onto my colleagues, which is emotionally unprofessional. It's like that's a boundary you can't cross.
Mm.
Um, uh, but there is good evidence to your assertion that this young generation seems less capable to deal with stress than previous generations. That is true.
mm,
Um, they are good at curating. They've grown up in an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok world where I'm really good at showing you the life I want you to think that I lead. And
mm.
so they're really good at presenting a confidence that they don't have.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are being sold kind of a lie on the internet whereby people are like, this is how I live. Like, that's not how people live, bro. Like, even me, if I'm ever to make a vlog, which I have made multiple vlogs, that's not my life on a daily basis. Like, every day in general, every day looks like that. Sometimes I film vlogs because, like, I'm planning to do something that I feel is interesting to me. Therefore, I feel like, let me just vlog this and probably never post it. But I'm kind of thinking of editing all those vlog videos and then I'm gonna post them and react to them, since apparently now I'm a reaction channel. So yeah.
They
But,
s- they
but
sound they sound like they have all the answers when they don't.
but then I see you presenting that live to me if you're a fellow Gen Z,
Yeah.
and I go, What? My life's stressful and difficult, and
Mm.
I had to work really late, and you're having a frappuccino latte, whatever,
Yeah.
Nah, they filmed that day off, bro.
at 3 a.m. doing pottery lessons. I need to quit.
Yeah.
Mm.
It raises the question, what do you want from your life and what do you want from your work? Like, why do you have this job? You know? Um, if it's just to pay the bills, I mean, I hope I know that is the case for a lot of people, that I have to have a job to pay the bills. And I hope that employers are good enough that even survival jobs are a nice place to work, you know? Trader Joe's, great company where people who have survival jobs, still a nice place to work, you know? But I think the question is what is the life that you're trying to build? And if you want a job simply to pay your bills, and this concept of quiet quitting. Have you heard this one? Quiet quitting.
I've heard this
Mm.
term, but maybe I heard you talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's been written about.
Right.
It's not my concept. But quiet quitting is this thing where I don't quit the job, but I basically will dial back my effort and give you the minimum. So you pay me to do this job, and I will do the basic minimum amount to do the job, where
Mm.
you can't really fire me because I'm not really doing anything badly or wrong, but I'm also not going above and beyond at all, right? So there's this concept of quiet quitting where people are coming to work and they're just doing the minimum, doing their hours, doing their job, not volunteering or raising their hands or going, and that's it.
Mm.
And and it raises the question: is that bad?
Well, we're still cooked though. Like, inflation is crazy. We're still cooked. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. How cooked are we? Like, completely cooked, like completely fried cooked, flipped over, cooked both sides, well done, not even medium rare, or sort of kind of cooked. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.